All right, it's the 1st of October, pitching a punch for the beginning of the month. Um, First home buyers can now buy with a 5% deposit. We've heard a lot over the last 90 days about this, and we want to talk about what we've seen the last 90 days and what we think we'll see the next 90 days as a net result on this incentive. Stay tuned, first home buyers, and even just everyone in the market. What happened there? Try again.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Ooh, la
Morning,
la
buddy.
la 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 la.
It's Christmas morning for property, isn't it? This morning, Mark.
Yeah, yes. Josh Wapshott, real estate agent to the stars. Mark Novak, real estate agent on the northern beaches, also to the stars. We're out there in the marketplace all day, every day, talking to buyers, talking to sellers, and we wanted to give you our experience and what we've been seeing on this first home buyer stuff. Talk to me, Josh. Talk to me.
So I thought let's unpack it a little bit. This was a federal policy brought back in at that election time. It was meant to come in towards the start of next year, but they've brought it forward. And what this is a deposit scheme. So essentially, prior to this coming out, you're capped up towards that between that 900 mil mark to be eligible for this. And essentially what this is, guys, if you didn't know, lenders mortgage insurance, if you traditionally didn't have a 20% deposit, what would happen is you would still have parameters to get approval via your bank. However, if you didn't make up that 20% deposit, you would also pay what's called LMI, or lender's mortgage insurance. Now, with this policy, essentially the government is, how would you say it, guaranteeing that 15%, so that minus the 5% a buyer's going to put up, they're guaranteeing that. So allowing buyers to now enter the market up to 1.5 with a 5% deposit. And I think this is going to be quite big, because this now unlocks a lot of different property across the market, doesn't it, Mark?
It does look. A lot of people sometimes didn't even qualify for the LMI, or they had to tack that cost onto their end mortgage for the property. So it brings a lot of comfort to first home buyers now that, one, they're not having to pay that extra 10, 20, 30, 40 grand of LMI. And they get the big tick. Okay, it's proceed. It also means that they're getting in at larger loans, as in, if they're not saving for the 10 or 15 or 20% deposit, then they're borrowing that money. So some people are saying there's a bit more leveraging from first home buyers, which is a bit scary.
Yeah, you would say it is, but it's quite difficult in the current environment, the economy, as sure as most people know, to get that capital up. These days, you're looking at an average two-bedroom unit, $1.2 million, where you're looking at $240,000 as a 20% deposit there. So I think, plus obviously your stamp duty costs on top of that. For 1.2, you're probably looking at about 50 grand. So there's nearly $300,000 as a deposit and stamp duty that a traditional buyer would require. Whereas now, if you're looking at purchasing at, say, 1.2, that's roughly 50, 60, $2,500. So a massive difference. Obviously, you've still got your stamp duty cost. You've got concessional rates from 800 to $1 million. But if you look at that in the comparison, you're looking at $100,000 in capital versus 300. So I think that's huge, and I think it's going to have an even bigger play on the market moving forward.
The net effect on pricing.
Well, I think it's what we see is obviously more buyers for this market of it's probably your glorified one bedders up to your original three bedder market. But what we'll see happen is that injection in the market not only does it affect the buyers, but it's going to affect the sellers in these markets. And generally the sellers of these, 1, 2, 3 bedders are going to be moving into the housing market. So what I think we'll see this real injection in the affordable side of the market, and that will slowly trickle its way up into the heavier pockets or deeper, more expensive stock on the market. So I think it's just going to bring a whole lot of demand, a whole lot of life and energy, and I think some growth in property prices along with it. What's your take, Mark?
Yeah. Look, I think it is pushing prices up. It's interesting they didn't give us a rate reduction yesterday, or this month or the month before, and I think the government feels like they've given everyone a bit of a lollybag by giving this 1st of October incentive. They don't normally pull them off the table quickly, so I think this could be around for years. It takes a lot of infrastructure to put this in place, and it's in place now, so I think it's going to be around for a while. But the net effect, I know we had realestate.com reporting that our market, Northern Beaches, particularly DY, had gone up 15% in 3 months. Now, what does this incentive mean that people can buy with a 5% deposit to our region that we're in? I think everyone's up 100 grand. That's under 1.5, and I reckon if they haven't already been pushed up, they're going to be pushed up, as there's a bit of a rush towards it. Because that there is a bit of a bull rush before 1st of October, because people are trying to get in before that happens. So we've actually experienced that in the last 1, 2, 3 months. Josh, I really got to mention something that no one's talked about. Everyone's saying 1st of October, oh my God, 5% deposits, people are going to go crazy. How's this for a concept? 10 agents in our office. How many agents have a buyer offer accepted from a first home buyer who said, I want to wait till the 1st of October? And if we think it really is such a big thing, why don't we have a buyer from 10 salespeople, or 5 or 10, that have all went snap on a property? Can we exchange today?
Well, I think you wanted to get it done beforehand. I mean, because that's that pretty much what you do is you're securing at the market rate now. But I think once that comes into effect, you're competing with so many more buyers. So I think
Where are they?
that's the what are they? What?
Where are the buyers? Why haven't they had an offer accepted over the last week or two and asked any of our 10 agents, can we exchange on the 1st of October? We want to wait, so we've got the 5% deposit benefit. What I'm saying
Because they know other buyers are going to be around doing the exact same thing. I think it was really smart to actually pick some property up before this came into an effect, because essentially you're dealing with a lot less competition, and now you've got an artificial injection into the market with this new policy. It's a recipe to make money. You would have bought more effectively because you've got less competition, and then around the corner you've got this artificial injection into the market. I mean, that's what I would have done, and that's what I have done.
I totally agree with that, but you've only got a 5% deposit.
Mm-hmm. Elaborate.
So you're waiting for the 1st of October to buy a property. Where are they all? Where are the smart ones that have approached us and said, I've only got a 5% deposit. I can't buy now, but I'm going to wait till the 1st. Like, if the market's going to go so gangbusters because of 5% deposits, we should have had people in the wings waiting.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Right? So I'm like, this is a really big thing. Well, is it really?
Well, I think it's one of those things. Yeah, it always takes time for people to understand it, for it to sink into the market. But it's definitely a positive thing and a strong
Absolutely.
factor. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
But I definitely
they ain't lining up.
Yeah.
They ain't lining up for it if it's such a big thing, and it is, and it's great, and it's an incentive. But I think that I think the bark's bigger than the bite, because if the bite was big, we would have 10 people waiting to exchange today with only 5% deposits. And I agree that smart cats have got in the last month or two or three. And I also agree that the market's probably even gone up a little bit as a net result, sub 1.5 because of this happening. People are paying more. But that's
Yeah,
the first home buyer 100K magic. If it ain't already happened, it is gonna happen.
it's happening. Yeah. And I think maybe we were discussing prior, guys, maybe for next week's session, maybe why that wasn't as hot, or a little bit more around that whole 5% and unpacking a little bit of the mortgage side and expense side. So we'll bring that up next week. That was the thought there, Mark, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And Josh, I want to emphasize what you said earlier. Even if there is stimulus in the sub 1.5, that knocks on to other price ranges. I really got to emphasize that everyone's benefiting from it. So, even though, because everyone's selling that sub 1.5 property is now going to be at a good price, at a better price, is now going to be buying in that sort of 1.5 to 2. So, and then that knocks on to the next price ranges. So the next 3, 6, 12, 18 months, I think a lot of people are going to be winners.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not just above, it's below. So if you've got a small, nice investment studio like the ones over at Maramba Road, well, if that
Yeah.
price level is majority going to be two bedders, but all of a sudden, if you have two bedders in our 1.2 as opposed to 1 mil, well, that's going to drag all your one bedder and your studio stock as well. So don't just think it's going to follow on to houses, guys. I think it's going to be across the market there that we're going to see that injection and have that spread.
Everyone's a winner.
That's it.
First of October.
That's
Have a
it. Well,
great
let's see
day,
what
legend.
happens. Thanks, Max. Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. Take care. Cheers. Bye.